there was a moment here, a few moments, she said it twice, where I think this season ended. And if I'm right, I apologize for spoiling anything. But do you want me to continue? I can stop if you don't want me
Please,
to. Okay.
please lay it on
So,
us.
hey guys, welcome back to BachMakers, your favorite show that recaps all things Bachelor Nation. Before we continue with this episode, we're going to ask you very nicely, Michael, please deliver the news.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And
In
share
that
it.
order, or reverse the order. It doesn't matter to us. Just do those things. Helps us enjoy this episode. We'll see you. We'll see you in the episode. Just keep watching. All right. Bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to BachMakers, presented by Good Time Media. I'm Wyatt, and that is not Michael. That is Jonah from Bracketology filling in. Michael is currently somewhere traveling. He didn't want to watch Fantasy Suites, so we got the prime version of Michael. Jonah, how you doing?
Happy to be here. I feel like I'm getting called up from AAA into the majors, which is timely with the World Series going on.
Yeah. What's the score of that game? Not to like immediately cut off the intro.
I was so this is the key when you are watching reality TV. You got to go second screen with
Smart.
sports on the other one. It is at least last time I saw it was 5-0 Yankees with
It,
homers from Judge, Jazz Chisholm, Stanton.
Gotcha. So if you're watching this, we're gonna assume they hold on to that lead. Congratulations to the New York Yankees for forcing a game 6.
Yes.
Congrats.
Let's
And the
hope we didn't reverse jinx that. Well, actually, I kind of hope they lose 4-1. But
that'd be funny. And Pacers are in overtime. I've been bad on my sports game. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Joan's fantasy suites, and there are 3 golden geezers left: Pascal, Guy, and Chock. Speaking of Chock, I need to give a quick recap from last week's episode, which was a little funky episode. Thanks everyone who tuned in for that one. We had Chock's daughter on the show, which was very, very fun. And there's a great moment in the interview where you can see me. I went through our Google slides because we do PowerPoints for all the golden geezers. And I had not remembered what I said about Chock.
All week we were like, "What's up, villain?" Like we let him know our feelings, but I think it was a little blown out of proportion. But for sure, the villain was there, and it was him.
Um, Basically, my entire PowerPoint was me talking about Taylor. Didn't know her name was Taylor at that point. Didn't know she would come on the show at some point. So that was a very fun moment for me. Very interesting. It's the most uncomfortable I've been in an interview because I didn't know what to do. Usually I'm in charge. I was not in charge at that point. Um,
your
but I
slide
just
deck was about Taylor.
so dude, the exact clip I used, I'm gonna play it here again. And I didn't realize what I said, and she brought it up. She said, "Oh yeah, that's how I found you guys." And I was like, "Oh, it must have been harmless." I have the
Uh-oh.
clip right here.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
That's the
dude,
worst message to get.
immediately I watched it back and I go, "Oh no." Here. Let me know if you can hear this.
Watching.
Yep.
I would like to apply to be your son-in-law. You can do with that information what you will. Mike, I'm not going to give you any more information because I call dibs. Okay. So during my research, I would like to apply to be Chock's son-in-law.
Okay.
No further things there, except he does seem like a strong, dependable, honest man that I would honestly be honored to call him my father-in-law. So
what about him? Gave you
Oh, no.
what about Chock makes me want to be his son-in-law?
Yeah.
It would have to be, I think, his attractive daughter.
Oh, no. Are there
Yep.
more than one Chalk daughters? Or
Nope,
is
there's
Taylor
one.
the. Oh, no.
There's one.
Uh-oh. Well,
Yeah,
how did things go?
you go back and watch the episode. I think it went well. Dude, I was
Excellent.
so caught off guard. I was like, why do I do this show? I say dumb stuff all the time that just comes back to bite me. So I wanted to, yeah.
You got to be cautious about, well, talking about Bachelor Nation and any relatives of people in Bachelor Nation.
That's our sweet spot. We just have the relatives on our show. So,
That's the way
anyways,
to do it.
I wanted to rehash that for a second just because I haven't stopped thinking about that moment since last
Yeah,
week.
you're going to think about that for at least 9 months, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All right, some quick quotes of the week. I only have I have one and a half. First one I want to bring up is Jesse, who always at this point of the season is just operating, just only playing the hits. Every time he shows up, it's great. He said to Chock, "We're not in Kansas anymore."
Well, we're not in Kansas anymore.
No, sir, we're not. We're not even close. So
I guarantee you he's been sitting on that one the entire flight to Tahiti. He was like going through his notebook, like, oh, what's gonna be a good line? He was sitting on that one for a while. Tip the cap. Well done, Jesse.
I love that. That's a great pickup. I missed that, but
Yeah.
that's wonderful. I have a couple, also
Well,
kind of one and a half. There were a few contestants that reenacted animal noises. We've got Guy with his dun 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 shark impression, and then Pascal with the well, first of all, the French, which was very fun. But the pouye, 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 that's a chicken. Cuckoo, cuckoo, that's a cock.
Le poulet. Chicken.
Chicken. That one. Le rooster, hein?
Le rooster? Cocorico! C'est le rooster, là, dimanche du rooster. Cocorico!
Just fabulous. And then we got to throw in a little Chalk Tua is what we're calling him at the household over here, me and the roommates. This is a more of a sentimental quote that I guess his nickname doesn't really align with the sentiment of this quote, but he said, 5,000 miles to see you, I'd go 20,000.
5,000 miles to see you.
I know.
I'd go 20,000.
Oh, you're so romantic.
Which then made me start singing in my head, and I would walk 500 miles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all in all, some great quotes from all three of them.
Yeah, I also wrote down my half was Pascal's chicken and rooster noises. I could not have possibly done it as good as you did, so I'm glad you went there. Well done.
Happy to be here. That's why you got me.
All right, we'll get into the let's do Golden Geezers. MVP of the episode. It's hard to give it to the guy who went home, but I kind of want to. I want to this is on the spot. I don't know who I'm going to give it to. I might give it to I'll do it. I'm going to give it to Pascal. We'll talk about him more when we get to his date, but I think we saw a very walls down, genuine version of Pascal today, and I can appreciate that. He was more open than he has ever been with us, and it was appreciated. And I think he left, and again, we'll talk about it more, but I think he left in as respectful of a way as you possibly can at this point.
Yep.
So tip
aligned.
Pascal. Yeah.
I think that's a good one. I'm going to give my golden geezer to the Tahitian man. Is it Tahitian?
I believe so.
Yeah, Tahitian guy. He had an unbelievable coconut split, which was just amazing. Took I don't even know, like a machete, couple chops straight down the middle. I mean, couldn't give it to anyone else after seeing that.
Love it. Love that. So let's talk about Tahiti. Is this the coolest place they've ever been on this show?
It looks
Some of the
unbelievable.
scenes, it looks like straight up Moana. Like it looks like a fairy tale.
Did you know where it was?
I still don't know where it is.
I had to Google this, and I conceptually, I put it in Google Maps. I conceptually still don't really understand where it is because there's a bunch of these lines on Google Maps, and you're looking at it flat. But I think it's somewhere between New Zealand and Hawaii, like on the other side of the globe.
Oh wow!
Yeah, right in the middle, in like the Oceania area.
Well, why? Okay, why are they speaking French? I'm not like a geography guy. Is that shocked me? I was like, why are they just speaking French right now? Is that a French country?
My understanding from my brief Google Maps search is that it is also known as French Polynesia.
Okay.
Yes. So maybe Tahiti was a French colony, still is. I don't know. I don't know enough about history either, but
no, let's dive deeper. Let's just keep unpacking the history of Tahiti.
I think this is probably where our time is most usefully spent. But what we're not talking about is the fact that Pascal had a home game. He had home field advantage. Where's the fairness there? I mean, giving him the opportunity to speak his native tongue in front of Joan is just, if I was Guy and Chock, I'd be throwing a fit.
It's a good point. There is an argument made that they all had home games because Chock got his ATVs, and then
Yep.
I think all Guy does in what's his face? What's the Lake Tahoe? Is just chill on boats all day. So
Fair
kind
point.
of comfortable for all three. But yeah, if you can let a Frenchman use his French accent, that's like giving Steph a wide open three. It's gonna hit. It's gonna
Yeah.
hit every single time.
Every time.
Yeah, I want to say something about the cold open for this episode, which have been pretty lackluster recently. This one, and it's just it was fine, whatever. But I'm a sucker for every time they go shaky cam. When you can tell the producer's walking and the
Yep.
camera's shaking,
Going
I'm
mobile.
locked in. Like it's like red alert goes up. I'm like, all right, I'm in. Every time I see a non-sturdy camera, something about it just clicks. I'm like, yep, I'm in.
That's a good point.
Sign me up. It works
I
every
like that.
time. It's a life
Every
hack.
time. I truthfully, I was in the middle of making chicken nuggets during the cold open, so I missed the shaky cam section of it. But
Yeah.
you're right. You always know that something big is coming when they go mobile.
Yeah, it's like following Colton jumping the fence, like just someone's leaving in a hit.
Yes.
Like it's perfect. Love a good shaky cam. Joan, on her flight to Tahiti, I don't know if you saw this. Looked like she was the only one. Is
We
she getting
mentioned
a
that.
solo flight to Tahiti?
I mean, that would be absolutely wild, unless that was like the layover flight and they were flying from somewhere else.
Yeah.
How long can private planes fly?
We're asking good questions here
Because
because
it looks
that's
far.
insane.
If you're looking at Google Maps, it looks far. So I don't know. I mean, I guess most of the budget for the season was spent on that one flight and not the men traveling to other locations and just chilling at the mansion.
Yeah, that's a
So
good
that Joan
point.
could have a private jet. But
They pulled this had to be the most expensive episode in maybe Bachelor history. Just because they probably all pulled all the money together from what they would spend on a normal travel season and just put it all into Tahiti. Like we're gonna go to the coolest possible place. Honestly, I'm here for it because
yeah,
I could not get over how cool this place looked. The
it makes me
water,
want to go.
bluest water I've ever seen in my life.
Literally looks like it's out of a magazine. Like the Tahiti travel to Tahiti stock skyrocketing after this. We didn't
Yes.
even know what it was, and now we're like, oh, let's go there for winter break.
Yeah, I want to like read up the Wikipedia page for Tahiti. I want to know everything I can about this place.
We might have to do that after this.
Yeah. Joan, when she gets there, she runs into her old friend halfway across the globe.
Yep.
So again, they flew Nancy out to Tahiti too, which is insane. But Nancy, note I wrote down, has between you and me, has Nancy always been this feels weird, but has Nancy always been this hot? Nancy
Very,
looked
very
good.
good looking. Yeah, she looked great.
Nancy looked fantastic.
I had very little recollection of her from Gary's season, though.
Yeah, I think she had a glow up post Gary season because Michael texted me too. He's traveling. He goes, I think he was watching on a plane, and he was like, "I'm gonna read his direct quote." So we're gonna get a little bit of Michael in this episode.
Excellent.
He said, "Nancy's looking fine." All caps. Flight is delayed, so I'm watching at an airport bar.
Love that.
Great.
Love that. Well,
But yeah, no, Nancy looked great.
She did. Speaking of people looking fine, sun-kissed Guy was looking in his element. I was very excited for him. He looked great. Pink shirt, one of the buttons open to show off a little chest hair. He was, I mean, that was 10 out of 10 from him.
Yeah, he's built for that kind of weather too. He's just like he feels at peace. I feel like when the weather's nice like that. Nancy and their conversations were just the same old like
Yeah.
glad you're opening yourself up, be careful, protect yourself but be open, all like the classic mottos you use at that point. We move on to guys date. They do their little yacht snorkeling stuff, which there was a moment here, a few moments, she said it twice, where I think this season ended. And if I'm right, I apologize for spoiling anything. But do you want me to continue? I can stop if you don't want me to.
Please
Okay.
lay it on
So
us.
he kept saying that, or sorry, Joan kept saying that Guy is further ahead than she is, which watching them interact and watching Guy and or Chock and Joan interact, there's no way that Guy is further ahead than where Chock is at. Chock is all over Joan 24/7, fully committed. If anyone is too far ahead or too far from where Joan is, it's Chock. So the fact that she's already thinking Guy is at a different place than I am means there's no way she closes that gap, because if she doesn't think that about Chock and she thinks that about Guy, she has to be leaning that direction, and it's got to be Chock at this point. That's just what I'm seeing.
You're speaking my language here. I think that's phenomenal analysis. The sabermetrics you've got going on here. You're doing like some what is it? The absolute value of each other's feelings. I
Yeah.
think that's the right math term.
Yeah.
I'm aligned with you. I have been. Roll the clip on this podcast. Said from day one that Chock is looking good for a potential final two, if not winner, and I'm still feeling like it.
You did call it here. Michael and I were too busy making fun of him sounding like Peyton Manning and that he sounds like he's closing a business deal, which he still does, and I'm still gonna call him out for it, even though his daughter came on our show, which I will always be grateful for. I'm also rooting for Chalk because Taylor somewhat agreed to come back on if Chalk does end up winning.
Oh,
She was
exciting.
she's very well media trained. She didn't give us anything.
Yeah.
I didn't want to know, but I did kind of float some questions out there to see what she would give us. She didn't give us anything. But yeah, there were moments of this date with Guy where I thought Joan almost was kind of checked out, and she was saying the things that she needs to say to keep the date moving, but I don't think she was really that engaged in the date. And I think that was like Vince Carter meme, like it's over. It's done.
Yeah, I got that vibe too. Like, I feel like she very much cares about Guy, but
Mhm.
more as in a friendly manner and less of the romantic, like burning passion.
Yeah.
Who knows? It could work out for them, but I'm aligned that I think her connections are stronger with the other two.
On a less serious note, they were just swimming with sharks. Are just the Tahitian sharks cool and chill? Because that would terrify me. They seemed so okay with it.
Have you ever snorkeled?
No, I've not.
Yes. You've okay. The snorkeling there looks unbelievable, first of all. But let's have a quick chat about snorkeling and what was going on under the water.
Yeah.
When you're snorkeling, you have this mouthpiece that you breathe out of, and your nose is covered with. You're not supposed to breathe out of your nose. There's no possible way that you can breathe out of your nose with this snorkel mask. And they're like making out underwater, which means they have the largest lung capacity I've ever seen. It is so anxiety provoking when you're underwater with that snorkel in your mouth. Sometimes you get a little water that comes over the top, you get a wave, it goes into the top of the snorkel and the mouthpiece, you come up, you're choking. I don't know how the heck they did that. And at their age too, I mean, just unbelievable cardiovascular health to make snorkeling sexy and
Yeah.
do a little bit of kissing during it. So props to them. The sharks and stingrays generally are more scared of the people than we are of them. Snorkeling, great activity. It took me a while to get over that fear, but now it's very peaceful.
That I do have to say, you really are Michael 2.0, because the only other text that Michael sent during this episode was, and I quote, "How the fuck do you kiss underwater with snorkels? That's literally impossible. You would just inhale water."
Yeah, amen. He's got it.
Yeah, that's hilarious that you brought that up. But yeah, it seemed like a cool date. Before we move on to Chalk's date, what did you think of Joan's decision with the fantasy suites to basically go bedless? They didn't use that term, but I thought she had mentioned it in other interviews where there's no beds.
Where
What
there's no
what
beds.
I think they got rid of beds in the fantasy suites. And I could be making that up because I think she said that in a a Good Morning America interview, and maybe they didn't say it on the episode. So maybe I'm projecting that. But I thought her idea was I want to do fantasy suites, but like no beds, like we'll sleep separately, but we'll have that time away from cameras.
And they sleep in their own rooms.
I don't know, but I'll fact check this, but I'm pretty sure she said at some point in an interview that she wanted to go no beds.
Interesting.
But maybe it just meant they weren't going to sleep together.
Well, that's possible because we didn't get any morning after breakfast shots.
Yeah.
Or they've let the cameras back into their fantasy suite room, and one of them is shirtless, and the classic fantasy
Yeah.
suite morning. In terms of her stating that she didn't want to be physically intimate with anyone, I mean, props to her. Let's hope she was able to do a better job than Zach did. But all things considered, I mean, I'm cool with it. Go Joan.
Yeah, no, I love the idea. Very classy. I think I think the demographic that is watching this show is going to be very appreciative of it. It just feels like the older generations are going to be like, that's my queen, Joan. Like, that's how this show should be done. Get on their high horse with all that. But I do want to say, Chock, he didn't allude to anything, but he almost like gave a smirk, like, I'm gonna let Joan say something if we're gonna say something. I was like, I don't think you did anything, but now I kind of think you did.
Oh, I for sure think they did. I mean, he would. I feel like he gave a little smirk when the producer asked that question. You also, if nothing happened, you just say nothing happened.
Yeah,
it's the classic innocent until you're proven guilty, but in this case, omitting and not denying. I don't know. But that also leads into our assumption that Chock might be the one, and she maybe did proceed physically with him because she knows it's going to be him in the end.
Well, now I have a great first question to ask his daughter when she comes back on the show.
That's how all great relationships start, is asking someone that you might be attracted to if their father got intimate with his lady on a television show.
So let's talk about your dad's sex life for a second.
I like this plan a lot.
Classic first date table talk, you know?
That's the way to do it.
I also, not to nitpick Chock too much, because I feel like I've been doing that quite a bit. I don't like how he says fantasy suites. He emphasized suites. He's like the fantasy suites, not fantasy suites. I don't know. I'll put the clip in as well, but it's something. Maybe I'm just anti-Chock. Am I nitpicking him too much? But he just said it in a weird way.
You might have a Chock bias. I did not pick up on that.
Okay.
Again, I do really. How do you feel about the way Pascal says "just"? Like just.
Everything Pascal says is awesome in my mind. So again, I have my biases here. So anything in Pascal's accent, I'm all in. I think he says it the right way. I think we're saying everything wrong. Anything Pascal says is right.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I can align with that for sure.
Anything from Chock's date stand out? It was pretty straightforward. They do the ATV. Joan, Ricky, Bobby, I want to go fast, and they have a little picnic. They kiss every 5 seconds. It's toast, kiss, cheers, kiss, drink, kiss. It's like, all right, we get it.
Stocks, I can guarantee, and you could, hey, this is another thing you could talk to Taylor about, is asking about her father's love languages. I personally think Chock is a physical touch and words of affirmation guy. Like, he is unbelievable at giving words of affirmation. I would like to be on the receiving end of Chock's words of affirmation. So if it doesn't work out with Joan, then maybe there's a spot for me to receive that sort of reassurance. But my God, I think there's no doubt that he is the one that is most forward. There is one thing I wanted to bring up about the dates. So Joan keeps repeating, I didn't know where you were. I didn't know where you were mentally. Like, I didn't know how you felt about us. And then Chock repeats to her and reminds her that as they were leaving the hometowns date, he whispered to her saying that he was falling in love with her. And her reaction was like, to me, it gave the vibe that was the first time that she thought he was saying it to her, and she might not have heard him say it at hometowns, and was for 10 days thinking, oh, how does he feel about me? How does he feel about me? But in reality, he was the only one of the 4 guys that said he was falling in love with her. I think she's just potentially 61 and is hard to hear. She might be 60. I might have aged her an extra year. I apologize for that. But either way, I think she might have missed it. And if you go back and watch her reaction, it's to me seemed like that was her first time in her mind hearing that Chalk was falling in love with her. So that was my key point that I wanted to take away from their date.
I like that. And I also, so at some point in the episode, she did mention, she said, well, Chalk did whisper that he loves me. Or she mentioned to Nancy, I think.
He's told me he's falling for me. He even whispered the L word.
I'm falling in love with you.
But there is a little bit.
And she said, he whispered an L word to me.
Did she? Okay, I must have missed that part.
Again, this is like Spider-Man meme. One of us is wrong. We'll check the tape. We'll send it to the booth. We'll check the tape. But I'm pretty sure. But that also could be like, I could very well see a world where she didn't hear it the first time, and then she's talking to producers on their 20-hour flight. She's like, well, I don't really know where Chalk's head is at. And one of the producers like, well, how'd you feel when he said that you loved, or he loved you? And she'd been like, what?
Yeah.
When? And they like, do you think they watch the tape back? That'd be fun to do on the flight. They should be able to like have a monitor and like watch back the hometown dates, like watching film.
That would be very fun. Like the lead, or
yeah.
talking,
Joan should be able to like to watch back tape and be like, oh, I like this. I like this.
Yeah, we go to the booth after a questionable action. I like that.
Yeah.
Go throw the red challenge flag, see what they're saying outside of things.
That would be a good time. She should be able to watch like footage from the mansion on like on that flight. Like what was happening in the house when I wasn't there? Because at that point it doesn't matter. All those guys are gone. She should be able to get some insight in there.
She would probably watch Jack doing cannonballs, be like, damn, I made a mistake letting him go.
Damn, look at the form. I need that. I need more Jack in my life. Send him back. Get him to Tahiti as well.
Yeah, well, we get him back next week on Men Tell All.
I can't wait. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, let's move on to Pascal's date. He has this conversation with Jesse Palmer, which I think is one of the better monologues we've seen in this show's history. He goes on this beautiful, poetic journey where he's talking about how people judge me for how I behave, how like my flashy car, but they don't know me. I've had this rough childhood, and it's just, man, I've said it before. He does something for me, and he doesn't, again, on paper, he does things where I would be one of those people who would judge him because I have a show where I judge people based off what we see on TV, but still I like somehow through the editing process, through everything, he still comes across as this genuinely good dude, despite all the external factors that might make you think otherwise, which is so impressive.
Yeah, there's really, I mean, I think you said it in my first guest appearance this season that there's no reason that he shouldn't be the villain, but he's not the villain. And I mean, I'm also impressed with him. And again, he's from my hometown, well, next door. But he's built up quite an empire, and we saw his salon last week. And to come here knowing no one, not speaking English, and then getting a nice inside look, and kind of Jesse allowing, I think they have a really good bromance going on. Plus, I think that both of them speaking French helps. But no, I loved it. I was here for it. I think that's probably the most vulnerable Pascal has been so far.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And then there was a moment, and I wrote it down in my notes. It was during the bonding ceremony, right before he said the dreaded words, "I'm not ready," which that was the kiss of death. At that point, we all knew where it was going. But right before then, I really considered, I was like, is Pascal about to be in the final two? Which I never even entertained heading in this episode. But then there was a moment I was like, wait a second. This like works. Like this is working right now. Pascal's being vulnerable. This like things are going well. And then it fell off a cliff pretty quickly. And then he came out and was like, I'm not ready for all this. He almost felt overwhelmed. I think he didn't realize, and which is dumb because they had a super long flight to realize this. I don't think he realized how far along in this process they already were.
Yeah.
And then it hit him Like this isn't a casual fun date. This is a serious, we're about to get engaged date. And that's when it hit him like, whoa, we're really close to the end here. And then he freaked out. And I said, like, I am not ready for this.
Yeah, he was hoping for another like Vegas Ferris wheel type
Mm-hmm.
date. And I think you're right. I think just overall the overwhelmed feeling that he got. If it was Joan's choice, I believe he would have been in the final two.
You think Guy goes home?
I think Guy would have gone home. If they have a good open walls down fantasy suite evening, I think she felt more passionately about him. That's my gut.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I really, because I keep looking back at that Guy date and just the look in her eyes, she was going through the motions. I really believe that. I think next week's episode is going to be very straightforward. I don't think there's going to be any surprises. I mean, they're going to build it up as they do, but I think it's Chock through and through at this point. I don't think I think Chock's in a league of his own. I don't think Guy holds a candle to what Chock has going on.
I'm feeling real good about my Chock future. Real
good. Don't catch it in yet. You got it.
I'm not Kate. Listen, you can't count your wins before they happen. I've seen bad beats before, and I guess we'll know.
Bad beat. Yeah,
that would be a bad beat. I also think that going into this, I would have put Pascal at like minus 500 to leave on his own at some point, not be ready.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the vibe.
I 100% agree, but also the way in which he did was not. If you would have said night one, Pascal's gonna go home by himself, I thought it would be a little more sporadic and not as heartfelt. Like this was a very mature, and obviously it's mature because they're all 60. But it was a very genuine and wholesome goodbye. It was like, and they both said, I love you at the very end. And I think they both meant it. They're like, I have a lot of love for you. This just isn't the end goal for us. Like, this is not where we're going to end up. And I can guarantee you right now, Joan and Pascal are great friends. I bet their friendship is incredible. If I'm wrong, I'd feel a little sad, but I feel like they're good friends.
I hope so. And I think that Pascal was so blunt about it that like if the way he said that he wasn't feeling it with saying, I know what true love is, I've experienced love, and I care about you as a friend. If I was on the receiving end of that, oh my, would that hurt. So shout out Joan, we feel for you. We'll see. He could be one of those, like, she's really happy with Chock. Chock was the number one pick overall, and she kind of like can get over her feelings for Pascal, and they're going to see each other next week. But it also could be like, there's still some unresolved feelings there on her end, and maybe that prevents them from being friends. We'll find out. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of the men tell all next week, wait, is next week the finale? No.
I think it's just men tell all.
It's just the tell all?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so what are you most looking forward to find out? Do you think we get, if it's just a tell all, I think we get a Golden Bachelor announcement.
Oh, I didn't even consider that.
Because I doubt they just do a tell all. I feel like that would ruin momentum for a season if you just do a tell all. Usually there's a little bit, and I'm sure they'll do a little bit of finale stuff, but I'd be shocked if it's just a tell all and nothing big comes out of it.
Yeah, I think a Golden Bachelor announcement might happen now that you mention it. I don't see them playing like anything but maybe an extended preview of the finale. I don't think they're going to go into any content. We're not doing a fantasy. There will be no fantasy scoring next week. But what I'm really looking forward to in terms of the content are the return of my favorites, especially Charles L. He looked awesome. Talk
So
about
good.
a glow up. Oh my.
Gosh, he looks incredible. King Charles. I still think he's in the running for potential Golden Bachelor. It's a long shot. He's definitely like, it's a flyer if you're going to put some money on it, but I still think he's in the running, especially now. Are you seeing Mark might be dating the One Tree Hill mom?
I
Deb,
did see that. Very
which
exciting. Yeah.
by the way, one of my first ever crushes was Deb from One Tree Hill.
She
Not
still looks
Peyton,
great.
not Brooke. It was the mom. It was Deb from One Tree Hill. She turned this boy into a man.
I like that.
So good for Mark if that's true.
We
But
love a soft launch through a Halloween costume.
yeah,
Or maybe it was
that's
a hard launch. I mean,
it could
it
be,
yeah.
which is nuts. And then we have another potential one with Leslie and Jordan, which Leslie, friend of the program, has given me nothing. She's just giving me emojis, laughing at me, trying to figure out what's actually happening there. Which is
Classic.
fair.
Hey, that's good for the tribe here and the fellow Jews. We love to see a Jewish
Yeah,
Bachelor Nation connection right there. So
there
I'm
we go.
all in on Jordan and Leslie.
Yeah, it's awesome. There, no, I fully support that. I want Leslie to be as happy as humanly possible because we love Leslie here. But yeah, I think Charles L is still in the running for Golden Bachelor. I assumed Mark is still in, unless he's dating this
I
woman.
don't know. He looks cozy with her. I would be shocked.
Yeah, oh
Who would
yeah.
you, if you had to put like betting odds favorites, who would you say is the one to take it?
I'll take Mark out of it. If
Okay,
Mark isn't in a relationship, they will offer him. They have to.
I
And
agree.
but let's take Mark out of it. I would say Jonathan at plus 150. Then who else? I I think Jonathan's the favorite if you take Mark out, and then you put like the Charles L's. I don't even think Pascal has a chance, but
No,
I don't even know after that. I can't think of any.
could like Dan be on that same level as Charles L?
I think Gary has a better chance than Dan,
You think so?
but I don't
Could it
see them.
be okay if they don't announce tomorrow? High likelihood that it's Guy, right?
Wait, tomorrow? Is it
Or
tomorrow?
sorry, not tomorrow. Next week. Sorry.
Dude,
Yeah,
you about gave me
didn't
a
mean to
heart
scare you there.
attack.
No.
Sorry, who'd you say? You think
If they don't announce,
potentially
I think
Guy?
it's. I feel like it has to be if they don't announce it tomorrow.
They almost never pick the runner up though.
I know,
But
except
I could.
Joey.
Was Joey? Oh my gosh, yeah. Wait, that could work then. So yeah, I mean, I think Guy. We've talked about this on the show. I don't think Guy has the personality for it. I think we've seen. This isn't a knock on him. I think we've
Yeah,
seen all there is to Guy. I don't think there's much more layers to peel back.
Guy kind of for some reason I can't get it out of my head. He and in the least political way possible. He kind of reminds me of like 6 years ago Joe Biden. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is. It's like their mannerisms, the way they
yeah,
talk. There was a
dude.
clip
I
a
put
few
that clip
episodes
out.
ago.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, there you go. We're on the same page. There was one clip, and I was like, that could be Joe Biden talking to Joan.
yeah. It's unbelievable. He sounds like a sprier Joe Biden. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I honestly, if I had to put money on it, I'd say it's Jonathan. He feels like someone they
Yeah.
would pick, and he's on the younger side of things.
Oh, I hope they
Um,
go with Charles L.
oh, if they go with Charles L, the the pandemonium, the chaos, the I will. I don't know what I don't. My body. I will have an out of body experience if Charles L becomes the Golden Bachelor. It will make. I might cry.
Couple tears, pop bottle of champagne. I
That
mean,
might be up there
that's
with like a Super Bowl for my Vikings. Like that, it would be
seriously.
up. It'd be a top tier moment for me. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. I was gonna say predictions, but at this point, I think both of us would be genuinely shocked if she's not with Chalk. What are the odds they're still together? I would say pretty high.
I also think
Um,
pretty high.
would be my guess. I don't see any kind of shenanigans happening with like we got with Jen and Devin and all that stuff. So I think it'll be pretty straightforward finale, but who knows? That's why we
Yeah.
watch.
This is why we tune in weekly on Wednesdays. The only other thing for me that will really come full circle on the season, the only other thing I'm waiting for is a group rendition of "We Are the Mansion Men, the
And
Golden Season Mansion Men, from us to you, good night." And if that's how they sign off from Men Tell All
oh,
with all of them singing, that'll make it. I'm good with that.
oh, I do. Yeah, we need to see Captain Kim there. All right. Well, Jonah, thanks so much for filling in this week. We will again hopefully keep having you on as much as we can. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the work you do over at Bracketology. I'm sure our listeners do as well. So again, thanks for coming on, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Rock and roll.